right, hello, and welcome to a Stampscapes Live. Very impromptu, very early, and outside of the time that I'm usually on, but I really wanted to try out a scene that I was thinking of. All right, so this is what I was thinking of. I was thinking about the mirrored cardstock, and I've been using those in a lot of mirrored scenes, meaning kind of the 90-degree format type of appearance. But I thought I wanted to try something with a tiered, just two-dimensional card here. Hello, Froggy Fresh, how are you? And I thought I would give that a go. So here's what I was thinking about doing. I was thinking about doing a tiered piece right here with two separate pools. Hello, Debbie. How are you today? So I'm going to do that. Okay, so this is a piece of, it's almost half-page pieces right here. I'm going to stamp something on here and then cut it out and mount it on here, but to try to do a little bit of layering. All right, so this mirrored area is going to represent the pools like that. So I hardly ever do kind of cutout types of applications, but I thought I would try that here and, I don't know, take advantage of maybe potentially a more three-dimensional looking surface that's actually just two-dimensional. You know, the mirrored pieces, you know, we're working with a folded type of format there. So, hello, Tammy. Good to see you. Hello, Noeline. Let's see here. Let's see how this goes. Okay, so here's my thing. Here's my theory here, okay? I've done this piece of cardstock right here in the exact same dimensions so that when I stamp it on here, all I need to do is cut out one side and it'll match up perfectly from edge to edge with the piece that I'm going to be mounting it on. I'm not sure what to do in what order in some of these areas, so that's going to be a mystery, and I'm just going to have to figure it out as I go along, and we'll see how it comes out, if it does at all. As with all things, right? Yeah. On your way to San Diego, wow. Be ready for some decent heat here. It's a little bit, it hasn't been too bad in San Diego so far, but it's a little bit muggier today. Humid. It actually rained last night, which was really nice. Not a lot, but it was kind of neat for a while. But it rained for a decent amount of time, though. Yeah, Froggy Fresh. So I was on at, another late one. So I was wondering, I wonder if there's going to be anyone on domestically. But it was kind of cool doing a monster scene, kind of like post or, you know, like midnight-ish. All right, so this is just going, I'm just using a smaller portion up here because that interior or mid scene usage of the waterfall is going to take a decent amount of space, and I need that reflective area to be showing up here. So this is just going to be a small little bit of the tall, Brook Falls. Almost forgot the name of it there. Okay, so this is going to be cut out, and you know, I'm not sure how much I'm going to be cutting out of that, so we'll see how that goes. Here's my thing with this, what I'm trying to do here, the concept. It's going to be the integration of the imagery in with that silver piece of foil and trying to make it look semi graceful at least, but I'm not sure if this little ridge, you know, of this cardstock is going to interfere with the blending in of the you know, the background, which isn't going to be background. It's not supposed to be background. It's supposed to be foreground, but it's going, you know, in this case the imagery is going to be raised, so it's going to be, you know, more forward than the surface here, which is, represents some water coming out this way. So I don't know. I'll show you when I get into it, or we'll discuss that at that time. Okay, so anyways, I'm using StazOn. I've just come to, realize that I'm probably going to be doing a little bit more stamp cleaning than I normally do, but it is nice to be just stamping on there and not have to wait for things to dry up and to just blend with whatever media I want to without it blurring. So, okay, so anyway. Okay, so here's the thing too. I'm going to have some things in back of these falls here in the form of trees, but I'm not going to stamp it on this piece of paper. I'm going to be stamping it on this, okay? And that way I don't have to do any trimming of the imagery like a complicated tree or something like that. But these types of things with these more rounded forms are going to be just really easy to cut out, so I'm not worried about that at all in terms of trimming, because we're going to have trimming ease here. And hopefully easy integration. Special Stampscape scene right now. I'll be stamping on decal paper. Decal paper. I don't think I've ever heard of anyone stamping on decal paper. That's interesting. So you're going to be stamping on decal paper. Is the piece going to remain on the decal paper, or are you going to use the paper as a decal post, impressions and whatever things you put on there? Are you going to use it as a decal? That's interesting. I don't think I've even heard of decal paper. I don't think. I'm not sure though. I don't know. Expand on that one. Hello everyone, thanks for joining in. Whoever's on, glad to have you. Okay, so here's another layer. So there's going to be some trees behind this. I can't go up too far because I can't go into that one, because again it's going to be on here. So let's see here. And I'm going to have a little bit of foreground down here, I think. Let's see, should we do that? Let me try to figure this out here. Okay, so if you've just logged on, I'm trying to create these mirrored pools down in these areas. I'm always trying to make these really reflective kind of, I don't know, kind of a light emanating, or the illusion of light emanating from within a scene, and water is a really perfect place for that because water in general is so reflective. So I thought, why don't we just try something, that's like super reflective for that purpose, and we'll see if that works or not. Of course, this is just a first draft here, so something might work, with some additional tweaks, but this is a, with your first kind of trial. It's a good way to kind of, I don't know, figure some things out. All right, so let's go with a little bit of an angle here. Okay. I think what I'll do is I'll color my rocks while it's on this surface right here, and we'll cut them out afterwards. I think that'll be an easier way to do this. All right, so these types of imagery right here, like I said, are going to be trimmed out and mounted on here. All right, does everyone kind of know why I'm not stamping it directly on this? If you don't, it's because this entire, everything would be reflective through this whole area. And what I'm kind of going for more so is the reflected area to be within this water area in here. All right, that's the concept, okay? I'm not sure if this is, we'll see if it works or not. how it works. We'll try to make our tweaks and everything like that. I still want some reflective areas, so I don't think this should take too long. Well, I don't know. We'll see how long it takes me to color this up. Okay, so this is a matte cardstock right here, and maybe I'll use some alcohol inks and colored pencil. How about that as a combination? I'm always doing dye-based inks, which I could do on here, or you can do all three, but let's just go with some alcohol inks right here. I've been having fun with colored pencils whenever I use it. I don't often leave opportunities for colored pencil, but I really should, or should just do some colored pencil things. But I do want things to be reasonably vibrant because in theory this foil paper is going to be relatively loud, you know, a very loud surface, you know, because it's just so reflective. So in a lot of ways I'm going to be doing some things where I'm kind of toning down that mirrored area down here. I'm thinking about, I need some shadows around here to make this stand out a little bit more. Okay, but let's, you know, I'm going to try to keep things a little bit simple too. Okay, so let's see. Decal paper is paper for decals for models. Yeah. My brother, man, he spent... that was my brother's thing growing up, was doing models, but yeah, it was that decals, and you put them in water, right? And then it was always like transferring it over to something. But because of texture... Oh, that might be a really great idea. Boy, that decal paper, though, is that decal paper really super thin? I mean, I'm like 45 years behind on my decal knowledge, you know, from when my brother used to make those, you know, tons of kit-style models. And I just remember that paper being like so, you know, the actual decal part being so thin. Hello, bugs! I know, I thought, I'm going to go on right now. I might go on later, too, to do some other things, but I really wanted to get this one out on I don't know, on paper here to test this out, so I couldn't wait. I thought, I'm just going to log on. I was thinking, a lot of times, you know, when I'm logging on, you know, for me, you know, the 5 p.m., 6 p.m., I thought, you know, for a lot of people, that's... you know, it's really late by the time I'm kind of finishing up. Okay, I'm adding a little bit of dye-based inks. When I thought about the richness of tones, I thought, you know, let's add in a little bit of dye-based inks to get things a little bit richer. Okay, you know, here's the thing. I'm going to be cutting all this out, so I don't care about the blending of this area here, which I normally would, but it's going to be trimmed off, so... no big deal here. Okay. Yeah, but that decal paper sounds fascinating. I was thinking there's certain types of surfaces out there. You know, I know people that do like those wooden pieces, although they don't seem to have too much of a problem with stamping it over like curved surfaces that are going, you know, curving in a couple different, you know, 2 different axes. But I don't know, for like some really intricate types of applications, that might be a really good solution if there's a decal paper that's, you know, that you can stamp on, that's fairly, you know, doable. But yeah, let us know how that one works out there. Yeah, I don't remember anyone ever telling me they're doing a decal paper before. All right, so leaving a little bit of tone on the top of the rock, or leaving a little bit of paper, just bare paper on the tops of the rocks so it looks more three-dimensional, like right here, down here. Okay. All right, and same thing right down here. Okay, so I'll add some tone across these rocks. This is just using black ink. I'm not using gray, But if I want a gray tinge, then I just add in a lighter application of black for those all versions of gray, okay? Your entire grayscale going from one color, all right? What you can do with any color that you have, you can work it from its full saturation, as if you stamped an image out with it, or if you're applying it post impressions like this and shading things and coloring it in, then you should be able to go for, you know, almost a complete application of it for, again, full saturation to, you know, right on down to white. All right, so let's see. Let's make the perimeter a little bit. I'm trying to anticipate what I'm going to need to do on this imagery after I glue it down and just take care of it right now. So I'm thinking about a little bit of a darker perimeter around that, because I think we're going to have to try to integrate all of these different layers in together. So a darker perimeter is just one of those easy vehicles. It's just throwing on a vignette to bring, I don't know, continuity and containment to, you know, in scenic stamping, it's a bunch of different elements usually. I mean, you can do a scene with 2 stamps if you want to, but, you know, usually there's, you know, a few more, and we want integration, and the easiest way to do that, and which is what I do a lot of times, I wouldn't be surprised if it's 95% of the time, it's just throwing on a vignette around the entire perimeter and just calling it a day. It just brings everything together. When things aren't kind of working out in the interior sometimes, or it's, you know, I wouldn't say it's not working out, but it's not as contained as it could be. I just go darker, you know, 4 corners, and then it's like, okay, problem solved compositionally. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, Debbie. We'll see how this goes with the alcohol inks like that. It could blend them together a little bit more too, but let's see how it goes. Okay, so let's go with, I'm trying to think if I want to add in a little bit more dye-based ink before I go into this. Let's go with some antique linen here. I always love the antique linen for a little bit of warmth and kind of grayscale richness, adding temperature to it. Is the water slide, is it the water slide transfer paper? Oh, that's the decal paper. Is that the name of it? Oh, okay, you're on Mountain Time, huh? How many states are in Mountain Time? Are there 3? Okay, let's see here. Let's add this in roughly in the same areas as the black was added, okay? Oh, blue would look good too. I wonder if I should kind of move this into a little bit more of a cool spectrum. You know, blues and silvers look really good together. Let me do that. Okay, so I'll add a little bit of this down, but let's go a little bit more bluish. Okay, so I mean, a lot of times when I'm doing cool tone scenes, going with a kind of a light shade of a warm tone is not a bad idea too. It just gives it a little bit more richness. Hello, Paula. Good to see you. Thanks for joining in. Water slide paper. I had to check that out. Okay, so here's some bluish tinges here. Let's go with the Marvy blue here. All right, it's just Marvy blues. This one's kind of close to Summer Sky, but the Marvy blue is just a little bit darker. And Marvy inks are a little bit thinner. Not that you can't use whatever brand, but let me just kind of expedite this portion. I really want to get to the paper trimming and mounting and all that. Okay, so let's go with this. Oh, and I can bring some of this into my water as well. So we'll start to incorporate that aspect of it. Froggy Fresh, I like your kind of exploratory kind of nature and view on your work. When I saw that 11 by 17 paper, it made me want to use the test out my photo paper again. I need to start using the photo paper a little bit more and giving that, you know, more of a chance. Okay, so here comes the, all right, so I'm going blue tones. Let's go with a little bit more of that here. Okay, let's see here. All right. All right, I can't see this at all. it's a lighter value than the tones that I already laid down. So let's go with a, well, this one's even lighter. Here, let's go to, oh, what is that? Like a 20% blue, maybe something like that. Let's add that in. There might be further incorporation needed, you know, after I get this laid down on that silver paper. So let's see how it goes. I have a feeling that I might have to go fairly dark. I don't know. We'll see here. Just because this, I mean, silver, we think of it as really reflective, but a lot of times it's like that value right there. So it's going to be really dark. All right, so we'll see how that goes. Maybe I should cut it out and let's just give it a try. Actually, let me go a little bit darker. I want to darken in the transition zone between objects and that silver paper. Again, I think this is really going to stand out a lot as a very separate element. So we'll integrate it in afterwards with some black ink shadows with the black brilliance. We're going to be incorporating it in with the white brilliance too. Okay, so this one's a little bit darker. This one's like a 60% gray probably. Speaking of decal papers, what's the strangest, or maybe not strange isn't the word, but what's the most unconventional surface anyone's ever stamped on? It could be something that, you know, was very popular, like dominoes or something like that. That was a pretty unconventional surface at the time, but that became very popular. I've seen someone that works on, I mentioned this in another live stream, but I knew someone that worked, she did a lot of saw blades back in the day. But yeah, decal paper, that's something I haven't heard of before. Hello, Diana, how are you? Hello, Sheila. Half of Idaho is Pacific time. Half of it? Oh my gosh. Huh. Yeah. Arizona doesn't switch. I know that. Okay. Wood. Chris is stamped on wood. Okay. Chris, you used, for all those different unconventional surfaces, was it Stays On then? And heat embossed ribbon. Ribbon. Wow. Did that work, Paula? I would think, God, ribbons, what was the ribbon made out of, though? I can imagine if it was like a natural fiber, but if it was something like a nylon, adding that heat to it, unless you're just really controlling the heat, and then you just, you know, you lift off or you hit it and kind of bursts or something like that. Watered silk. Wow. Yeah, what inks are we talking about when, you know, with that? Like the embossing, you know, you just used a standard pigment ink, you know, like oil-based pigment ink or something like that, or embossing pad on that one? Okay, so let's see here. Let's go ahead. I'm going to start cutting this out. I'm just going to cut it out with scissors. All right, yeah. I was just trying to decide if I want to do this with an X-Acto. I don't need to do it with an X-Acto. All right. Right here in this open area of this waterfall, kind of not certain about what I need to do there. So again, this is going to be all about the integration of this, and we'll have to do that with a lot of inks, brilliance inks and whatnot. So that's going to look like that. All right, we're gonna have to even this out. I'm gonna have to bring in like some lighting into this area. So that's the dilemma here in terms of integration. We want, you know, a decent amount of integration happening here, and, you know, hopefully where it doesn't look too, you know, unrelated forms here. Which it inherently will, but, you know, we're going to try to kind of bring them in and resolve that. Okay, let's see. Fabric. I haven't seen a lot of fabric done lately, but that used to be not popular, but I remember specifically like Magenta. Magenta had some sort of like stamped clothing kind of fashion show or something like that. I don't know where that was, but I remember seeing photos of it. And for fabrics, you're using Fabrico and that Clear Snap craft pad. I'm trying to remember. Do I know Fabrico? That sounds reasonably familiar. Okay, so this is going down here, like so. Let's see how this is going to go. This is going right here. And this is going up here. All right. So, let's see. Lighting like that. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do right now. I need to figure out where this is going to go because I'm going to have some trees behind this area. All right. And maybe some bushes behind this one. But I need to figure out how much white. I need to lay down the white first. Okay, I'm just thinking about it in my head right now. I need to integrate with white first a little bit. I mean, we want this reflective area. I don't want to fill in the entire area with brilliance ink. And then suddenly, okay, we can't see the silver paper anymore, like at all. Let's go up here a little bit more like that. So I can use some pine trees maybe right here. Okay, so I'm going to mark some of this off here. And I might be using the wrong sequencing here, but let's just see how it goes. Okay, so I'm just going to mark this off, little white paint pen. Okay, go down to about, I'm trying to think, I'm going to have this little misty area right in here, so I'm just kind of marking it off, and I'll go down to about right in here. Like that, a little bit of that reflective area like that. All right. I kind of know what I'm going after. As far as my implementation and theory, I don't know if it's right. We'll see. Okay, let's see here. In case paint, in which I used a medium with and then varnished over or sprayed. Marby Uchida fabric ink. Oh, okay. Varnished over and sprayed. Interesting. Both pigment ink and embossing ink. I embossed because I did not have any stays on, or oh, got it. That sounds pretty cool. An apron to wear at stamp convention. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Yeah. You were dressed for the part there, at a stamp convention especially, Debbie. Fabrico and the Marby Uchida fabric ink, are those still available? And how many different colors of those inks were there? Or were we just talking black or something like that? Did those come in different colors? Okay, so let's see. Adding some of this down. I might have to add more of this later, but we'll just see how this goes right here, okay? So this is going to be kind of a little reflective area right in here. Okay. This is Brilliance ink, so we'll have to spray seal it, you know, when complete. Okay, so it's going to be kind of that reflective kind of lighting line. If you've just logged on, and then especially if you haven't seen my videos before, this is not so much instructional, or it isn't instructional. It's explorational, especially on this one right here. I've never done this before. Trying to integrate things this way. You know, when I've used this silver paper, it's meant to kind of separate in many ways. Kind of from the imagery and whatever it's reflecting in its area. But on this one right here, I just want to create a kind of a mirrored pool, and I don't know, I wanted to see if this would work here or not. Okay, so see, this is going to be falling into that area. That doesn't look too bad in terms of the integration of it. But again, I want to have some, I want to retain some of that surface of the foil. Okay, you know what I'll do? I'll take a clean stamp like this, and if you've seen my videos where I do those reverse impressions, I think that might work here with the water stamp. So let's clean off the stamp really well, okay? So you just take a clean stamp like this, and with Brilliance inks, it will dry on this, but it doesn't dry like super fast. Okay, watered silk, dominoes. Oh, CDs, that's interesting. And heat and cut, okay. Fabrico and that clear snap craft pad. Or fabric inks. Okay. Watered silk. Yeah, I've never even heard of some of these things before. Oh, linen napkins with the food images. That's interesting. Yeah, that would be cool. Let's see. Hello, Jen. How are you today? Varnished on wood. I did a recipe box with food images. See, when I'm thinking about that, my sister would love that type of thing because she likes all of, like, food imagery and stuff, you know, and I think she's done, like, place settings for, like, dinner parties and whatnot. Okay, so I'm stamping into that. I think I waited for this to dry a little bit, but it's removing some of that ink, like that. So that is that. And what I could do is I can come into this other area with some black ink maybe, and we'll see how that goes. Maybe that would look, you know, maybe that would work pretty good. I don't know. Okay, so I want to continually get my bearings here and see what this is kind of looking like. Again, because it's hard for me to envision right now. Okay, so over here, yeah, let's hit that with a little bit of this water pattern, the water texture stamp. And okay, so I'm going to go about halfway down to about right here. And we'll go down to about, on this I can go a little bit farther. I'm just going to do that on the perimeter. I think that'll work here. Let's see. It's not going to be lightning, no. It's just going to be a pool of water. You could do some lightning. Okay, I'm going to do this on Stays On again too. I could do it in the Brilliance, but I was thinking I'm going to have to do some shading in here too. But okay, let me just try this out right here, and we'll see if it works or not. Okay, but I think I could blend it in if it doesn't. Okay, so always kind of experimenting around. I'm going to use this water pattern stamp to create a little bit of, let me see if I can show, it's hard to show it to you because this is so reflective right here, but there's that black right there, okay? And so this is going to help me create a little bit more of that vignette going around on the perimeter, like about like so. It gives me a head start for that effect. Okay, where is this one going to go again? Okay, I'm going to make it a little bit heavier right here. Okay, and I can just kind of match that side. Here, this is what it looks like, if I can show it to you guys. It's really hard to show the black. It's hard to know. Well, the white, I guess, is easy to show. But that black is a little bit harder. Okay, so... I'm getting better at the technique right here with this one, with the Stays On. So there's a little bit of a better transition right there. And sometimes I'm kind of holding this out at an angle, getting a much thinner strip right there. So this is what I'm doing right here. If you can't see, I'm going like this. Okay, so stronger, and then as you move in like that, it's getting drier and drier, so you're getting that transition like that, okay? And I'm just varying it. I'm going in a little bit farther with some of these, and then with some of these, it's just a little bit more, you know, perimeter oriented here. Okay. Let's do that on the opposite side. And again, this might be a little bit too loud from a textural standpoint, so I'll just blend it in with some Brilliance ink, the black Brilliance. But that really gave me I feel it gave me a big head start in that whole kind of vignette containment process here, so. Okay, so let's see. Chris, you're understanding, the newer pads have an evolved ink. Oh, they changed the chemistry of that, those inks, huh? Some original images to stamp for the quilts. Oh, are we talking about eraser carvings, Chris, or linoleum, or something else? I'm glad the vids are good and instructional, Bugs. I guess if the scenes come out, they are. If they aren't, they're not. They're instructions kind of on what not to do, maybe. Well, that's, you know, and that's a really important part of exploring, right? It's finding out what works and maybe what doesn't. That's starting to come together, isn't it? Look at that. That almost looks, if I did like an ocean in the background, that's not too bad. So that black on the perimeter, I think that's really starting to incorporate this in a little bit better. Okay, I'm getting excited here. See that? Like that silver paper's not looking too bad. Okay, so this is this. All right. Going like that, and hopefully this integrates even more. But look at that water down there. I can't rotate this very much, but see this? It's that watery reflective surface like that, right? I mean, I don't know. I don't think you can make this like high noon, but it looks like a moonlit scene or something like that now. All right. So it's getting there. You know, hopefully I don't ruin it, but I'm just joking. If I ruin something, then so be it, is what I say. But it's always done in the spirit of exploration. Okay, so I'm making a little white dot there on those two little areas. You can't see it right here, but I put a little white dot like right there and there. Okay, so that's for the trees that I'm going to add in here, and I just know to not go beyond that with the trees because I don't want it to go underneath my waterfall up there. So those are my little guidelines like that. And see that white pigment ink just scrape off like that? That's the brilliance right there. It has to be heat set, and it has to be spray sealed. Okay, even heat setting that, you'll be able to scratch right back into it. But we can just I'm going to be reapplying a bunch of white ink in this anyways, so there's going to be a lot of scratches in that. I mentioned that to my foil class. It's like, hey, we're going to be getting our fingers and everything. You have ink on the back of your hands, on the front of it. In this class, just expect that going into it. Where did okay, here's the trees right here. We're gonna go like this and like this over here. Let's see. Hello, Sandra. Good to see you. Thanks for joining in. Anne-Marie. CJ, good to see you. Oh, sorry about that. Yes, turning down my volume here. It's when the knocking noise is whenever anyone posts a message on the board there. So that knocking noise was you, Jen. I don't know why my volume went all the way back up. Oh, I think I had to restart my computer or something like that. So I don't know, does it just restart just on, volume all the way up? If I forget to do that, if anyone else is on, in the future, just mention that. Just say, hey, Kevin, turn your volume down. Okay, so let's see here. All right. Okay. Uh-oh. I see a bunch of little dots here. I think that was my guide there, right up there. So let's go like this. Here. MDF wood blocks, huh? Cool, cool. I guess it would be the volume on your guys' computer too, maybe. So if you had your volume kind of all the way up, you're probably hearing it. I don't know. I turned my volume all the way down. I finally finished a card using only Stampscapes stamp. I colored it with chalks, though. Still having problems trying to color with markers or inks other than stamping. Huh. If you have any problems, CJ, just send me photos. Everyone always says that, and it's like, send me a photo, but they never do. I'll be able to tell you, like, in like 2 seconds, what's happening there. Are you starting with the lightest tones and kind of working darker? That's what I do, you know. If you start off with like a super dark tone, you could, but it's just, you know, it's a little bit more precarious in terms of the integration of tones and values. And when you start off with, you know, something that's super light, and then you work incrementally darker, you know, not making like a big jumps in value and contrast, it's like something's coming into focus. Like, you know, if you had a process dial and it was like 1 through 100 or something like that, but if it goes from like 10 stops or something like that, and it goes like 1, 10, 20, 30, you know what I mean? It just makes it a little bit more precarious, so that sometimes when you go on to the next color, there's so much of a jump in contrast, it just stands out so much, and it doesn't look as kind of blended and integrated. And that's where chalks or something like that are easier to do from that standpoint. But you can do it, you can apply that same type of principle into your inks, provided you don't do those like harsh, you know, big jumps. But like I said, you can do that, but it just becomes a little bit more precarious, you know, an operation. Okay, so there's those trees down there. Remember, they're going to get covered up like this. So let's get our bearings again like this, okay? So I'm not going to have stuff in front of these rocks because I would have this ledge to kind of stamp over. I guess there's certain things that I could do that it wouldn't be so apparent, but... Oh, okay, so I had those scratches on there. So that doesn't even matter because this is covering that up anyway. Okay, so there's that. So... And then this is coming in here like this. I'm going to do a little bit more of that black up here with the stays on. Okay, so let's see. I know you can't see these trees down here, but see, here's those pine trees in the foreground now that I've just added in there. Okay. Hello, Crystal Fire. Good to see you. Hello, Michelle. Good to see you. Okay, so here is this right here. Boy, that sure is looking shimmery on that silver paper there. The more I add in here, the more kind of dynamic. But here's the thing, you know, here's the thing that I was wondering about, but I don't think it's going to be a problem looking at this. See, it's the integration of this white cardstock and the silver, but I just, you know, I haven't even tweaked this yet. And this right here isn't providing too much of a, you know, a problem, I think, from a value standpoint. I think I should be able to integrate this with, you know, with no problem here. Adding more white ink just over the top of both of these. And I'm going to come into this area with white ink, but I think that's looking pretty cool. It's definitely a, you know, a potential really great look. I think for as far as like a moonlit, I don't know, type of scenario. I don't know, we want to make use of, you know, all these different papers that we have. Okay, so coming in here a little bit more. Looks like I didn't go up high enough with this area. Yeah, so if anyone's ever having any difficulties with anything, especially when you're starting off, just take photos of it and just send me an email. I'll tell you exactly what's going on. Or, in most cases, it's just not enough of ink, or it's too much ink in some areas. And if it's too much ink, there's certain things that you can do with a scene in order to kind of blend it in and incorporate it in. Even at that point, you just kind of, you play around with contrast. Okay, so see, I added that little tone up there. Okay, so let's add more right here too. Okay, so let's see, I need to come in to about right here. This water pattern stamp is really, it's kind of removing the need to add in additional brilliance ink in those areas. So, I don't know. It's taking like 5 seconds to do it, and you know, instead of, I don't know, whatever, a couple minutes maybe. I don't know, maybe this isn't 5 seconds, maybe it's 10, but it isn't too much more than that. Okay, let's see. Let's go a little bit more right here too. Okay, so this is what we were talking about, is taking things kind of in a slower kind of methodology and taking things in incrementally. So that's what I'm doing here. I added a smaller amount of that black, you know, pattern image, and then I'm just adding more as I go in here as a, you know, if I see it's working or something like that. All right. So you just go, I was just only using black, but I was using it as kind of like a gray like that, okay? And then you can go heavier and heavier and heavier. And in a sense, you're kind of working through like a grayscale. It's a grayscale usage of a single color, all right? Does that make sense? Okay, so anyway, so a little bit heavier right there, and that incorporates that in there. I want to add in some additional trees, I think, behind this one. Let's go with, okay, so this is going back in perspective a little bit. I don't have a lot of room here for trees, so let's go with something like right here. And I'll mark this off again right here, and let's go that. All right, so there's a little dot there and dot there. Okay. Oh, and I need to make note of where this is going to go. Okay, so let's see. Let's go about right here. So, okay, so the bottom of this one is right here, and the top of this is right here. So I have these two little dots to guide me right here. So start of a tree and, you know, end of a tree. So start of it right down here. So let's see. I guess I should make note of where the bottom of this one is too. I've never added so many guides into a scene in my life here. All right, let's see. I'm trying to think of what ones to use. I'm gonna. I mean, there's a couple different choices. I'm gonna go with. I think I'm gonna go with Pine Island. Okay, so this entire portion is not going to show up, and if a little bit of it does, then no big deal. All right, let's see here. Thanks, Sandra. Darken a light section than it is to lighten a dark one. Donna, that's what I always say too. Although you can go and lighten it with white. But yeah, why not just kind of develop it as it goes along? You can see things come into focus very incrementally, you know. That's what I think that's easiest to do. Now, there's no more types of artwork that I respect more than the super spontaneous ones, you know, brush calligraphy and watercolor paintings. I love it, all right? But that, you have to really be, you know, you have to be practiced at it. You can be, you know, calligraphy people, you know, if you don't do that for a while, you know, you have to really start practicing that again. It's like such, you know, spontaneous kind of, invention, you know, and like field studies and watercolor, you know, quick brush work and whatnot. But I don't do that, you know. It's not something that I tend to do with stamping. I just find it easier just to kind of develop it slowly. I'm more like a, I don't know, if it, I work more in the like spirit of like an oil painter or something like that, just building things up, you know, thin to thick types of applications. And oh, I don't know, I guess it's pretty, I wouldn't say it's conservative or anything like that, but it's more, I don't know, a lot more methodical than watercolors. But again, it's just not, you know, it doesn't have the spontaneity of it. And again, I love that spontaneous type of look too. Those are some of my favorite types of paintings. Maybe it's because I can't do them. But yeah, I just find it so much easier just to kind of work incrementally to add in those, you know, that type of, to utilize that methodology in order to achieve a certain look. And a lot of times I don't know what I'm doing, like right here too. So I kind of do things, I develop it kind of slowly, and I just kind of watch things develop like that. Okay, so that is going roughly about right there. You know, I was just going to use just my tape runner on this. I'm wondering if I should use spray adhesive though to get a real flat application of these pieces on here now. I guess I'm liking it. I'm liking it more as I see this develop like this. Okay, so here's some trees in the background. It creates a little bit more contrast between that background and here. Again, here's that silvery kind of aspect of it, you know, that hopefully plays a pretty decent role in the overall finished piece. I'm trying to, here, the thing is I'm trying to figure out is if I should remove some more of that white, if it's blocking out too much. Okay, so I think it might be, but here's the thing about this. You can kind of go in there and blend it in like this, or remove it, I should say. Okay, so let's go in like this. So, I mean, this is applied with just a, you know, cotton ball, so that's going to give it a certain look, but let's go in and add in a few little these water streaks like this, okay? And then remember, I mean, we can do this right here, but again, you know, you can go in and spray seal this when you get the look you want. You know, if you start wiping away in this and it's like, oh my God, I totally messed it up, then just reapply it right back over the top of it. This foil and the Brilliance inks are one of the, I don't know, most user-friendly combinations just because of the ability to remove like that. And then when you get it, like I said, you just spray seal it. I don't like getting too much spray seal down on it, but it's just one of those things that has to be done. Because it does knock out some of that reflective, that real glassy, you know, chrome look, you know, by putting a little bit of a, you know, that spray sealant, which ends up being a little bit of a three-dimensional type of layering on here, which dulls it out a touch, even if it's a, you know, the glossy spray sealant. Okay, let me see. Let me get my bearings here again. And again, I'll come back into it, so it's like reworking it, adding, removing, adding, removing. Okay, so it's like this. I think that looks a little bit better. There's a little bit more spirit to it. And like I said, I'm going to be adding in some more in here. And then I want to splatter paint it too in those areas. So let's see. Maybe little bushes rather than trees. Could, yeah. I thought about that too. I thought about adding some bushes down here, but I wanted to use scale though, which I wouldn't be able to do it. If I went bushes here with no trees, then I wouldn't be able to, that wouldn't represent something smaller and more distant, which I wanted to do too. Maybe you can add bushes down here too. You can go trees and bushes too. But again, I don't want to block off too much of this either, so I don't know. That was the trade-off there, potentially. Okay, let's see. Uh-oh, Froggy Fresh poked themselves in the eye with an alcohol wipe. It burns! Man, you're paying the price for that artwork, Froggy Fresh, whatever you're doing right there. Takes little black to darken and a lot more white to lighten, so it's economics too. I just cooked my dinner. Have a great dinner there, Debbie. The scale of the top piece is odd. Ah, huh. Oh, how nice to find this after a long day at work. Thanks for joining in, Shard. Good to see you. Okay, let's see. I think I might go ahead and I think I'm just going to use the tape runner. Okay. I think it's time that we just glue this down. And one of the things is too, I thought I wanted to use a quote stamp, but I'm not sure if I'm going to have space in here to do that. I could do it in black, but I think it would be better in white. But I think I'm just going to leave it as that. Oh! Here's another thing too. I can add like a image down here, like a foreground subject matter image, like a deer or something like that. Or it could be like in that space right there, maybe. In that intermediate zone. That would be a really good spot for it right in here. And if I do that, I'm going to do it before I glue this down because there's going to be a ridge here, and if I want something on the other side of that, now would be the time. All right, decisions. See, these are the types of decisions that I normally don't have to do if we're working on just a flat piece right here, but since this one's dimensional, you have to take into consideration the raised aspect of that, so yeah, I don't know. Let's see, we can just go for something like this. This could be here. Yeah, let's see. I think I have this other deer image somewhere on my desk. Yeah, let's go with something like this here, I think. Maybe. I'm going to add it right down here. Okay, so this is going here. Okay. Yeah, just relax, Char. Get a nice drink. We'll see if this scene comes out reasonably well, and hopefully a nice relaxing looking scene here. Hopefully dynamic and relaxing at the same time. And hopefully, in terms of the media surface combination that I'm trying to go for, hopefully it will be compatible. I'm finding it's integrating at a decent rate, and I haven't even added in the thing that I thought would be the thing that would be integrating all this together, which is the Brilliance ink and white pigment ink, after I lay all this down, but I don't know. Everything right now is integrating a little bit better than I thought it would. But that water pattern helped a great deal, I found. Okay, like that. Let's go like right here. All right. I stamped it a little bit low, or did I? The thing about it is I can lower this down if I want to. All right, it's a deer on the other side of the ledge. All right. Okay, so let's get this added in. I gotta be careful about that StazOn ink. The StazOn ink's been kind of a learning curve for me. Stamping it on bare paper, it was like the first time I did it on foils, I almost pulled off some of the foil with that impression. It was like it dried on there because I was used to holding down the image a lot longer with Brilliance ink, getting that, allowing the Brilliance ink to transfer, and of course dye-based inks as well. So I've been re-inking that StazOn pad before usage every time, just so it's nice and juicy, so I'm not like tearing off cardstock and all that with the impression. All right, let's see this one right here. All right, and let's go right here. All right, here we go there. All right. Okay, I can finally hold this up and you can kind of see what, effect that kind of looks like right in there. All right, so that is it's really loud right now. So one of the things that I'm always doing with foils and stuff like that, it's kind of toning down certain aspects of the visual volume of such a reflective surface like that, okay? So this is where I use the Pigment Inks to come in and remedy a lot of that. So let's just give that a try right now. Let's go back to our white here. And let's see if I have enough white in this Brilliance ink. I just re-inked it recently. Okay, so... Or actually, should I do the black first? Let's use the black first, okay. And I'll let that black, I'll heat set it a little bit, and then we'll put the white over the top of it. All right. Let's see here. If you don't have a black Brilliance pad, I'd recommend it. Hopefully, I don't know anything about it, but I'm just hoping that these pads do not get discontinued at some point in time. They're the only things that are kind of that you can blend in to a surface like a foil that's very, very non-porous, that you can remove if you want to and whatnot. But it's very, very helpful in terms of doing things that, just other inks cannot. They're, the other inks aren't designed for it, like the, like the Brilliance. Okay, so trying to integrate this in a little bit more. We're blending in and creating a little bit more of a vignette around the surface like that too. Okay. Now on the paper, it'll dry just fine without any kind of, heat setting or anything like that, or time, like that. Okay, so see this is one of the things I was kind of, thinking about right here, is after I get things laid down like that, you're kind of going into that little ridge, but I don't know, that little spot in between my paper and the foil isn't too visible, again, because that silver is very dark most of the time like that, okay? All right, so anchoring this down. right down here, 4 corners again in terms of containment and framing. All right, now the reason why I'm going with the black over the, right now is because I want to add that mist and everything like that over the top of that. And if I went with the black over the top of the white, it wouldn't be as integrated. In theory, we'll see what it works out, how it comes out in application though. Okay, all right. All right, this is going to be really wet around on the perimeter like that. On the foil part, okay? Like I said, right down here, it's no big deal when it's on the paper. Char, I don't know. Char, do you know that, are you talking about, these are cut out here, so they're overlays, which is, you might not know. It is an early live, yes, Linda, but I wanted to try this, this look out, which is the use on silver, but with cutouts on here, because I just want the water to be like super reflective. Do you have to spray Brilliance ink? Yes, you always have to. Any non-porous type of thing, you have to spray seal your inks down. But it's also the thing that allows you to blend them in and whatnot too. And to remove ink if you need to. Okay, so that being said, I'm going to heat set. So you heat set and spray seal. One of the things I was thinking about doing is the original idea for this one, I was thinking about a 2-tier mirrored scene. So this would go back like this, and then you'd have another area going up like that. So it'd go like this, 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 and like that. You know what I mean? Instead of just, one 90-degree thing, then you come down here and like that. But then I was thinking, well, so you send it to someone and it's kind of folded and then they unfold it. But then I thought, that might be kind of weird, unless, I don't know, someone can think of a format for that. But that would be the viewing area, so that would look really reflective like that. But I thought, let's just try to do it flat and see how that goes. I'm into reflective and lit areas. Okay, so let's see. Let's try to integrate the... I want to integrate the shadows, but I also want to integrate the light areas now too. So that's where we do that. We come back into it with some additional tone, like so. And see, I'm bringing some of this up into the imagery too, like that. All right. And then we'll use some Dr. Martens too, in terms of a textural integration. All right, so, and again, I don't want to get rid of too much of the, the whole idea of that reflective area down there, which is the silver surface. So I need to be a little bit careful about that too. Okay, let's see. We need more usages for our foils, huh, Linda? Linda just bought, Linda bought her silver and as well as the red foil. And those come in a pack of 60, so it's quite a bit. So we want to find some usages for it. I got those, that pack of 60 pieces of foil, then I thought, I wonder if I'm ever going to use that. But then I started doing those mirror cards, and once you start doing those mirror cards, or when I started, I was wondering if I was ever going to stop doing them. There's so much fun to see kind of come together during the process. Let me see what this is going to look like here too, on a card mounted. Something like that. All right, let me see here. Let's go on with some Dr. Martens. I'm going to create a little bit of a pastier look right here in that transition zone. So we were if you've just kind of logged on, we were talking about earlier about what's the strangest or kind of most unconventional stamping surfaces people have stamped on. So there were a lot of fabrics and everything like that. Has anyone stamped on glass or metal or anything like that before? After working with some of this foils, it got me thinking about, I don't know, like different types of surfaces to stamp on that I hadn't thought about before. I haven't tried anything, but just kind of curious to know if anyone has. Okay, let's see. I'm kind of dry brushing a little bit of Dr. Martens down here before I splatter paint that area. Ansel Adams, The Eloquent Light. There was this book by Ansel Adams called The Eloquent Light, and I always liked the sound of that book. So I think I wanted to get the ideal scene stamp sometime, just so I can use that title for a piece. My My uncle used to like getting those Ansel Adams prints when he'd go to the Ansel Adams Gallery in Yosemite. And Ansel Adams was signing there one time, so he got, one of his, one of the latest releases, and had it signed by Adams. One of my favorite photographers right now, contemporary photographers, his name is Clyde Butcher, and he does, they call him kind of I don't know, his nickname. He didn't nickname himself, but they call him the Ansel Adams of the, I think of the Everglades or something like that. And he does a lot of his work down in the swamps, some swamp areas. And, kind of that region, but just really amazing shots. And he's working on large format as well. Still, he's dabbled around a little bit with digital, but he's still going out and taking that full format camera out with him. I don't know if he is now because he had a stroke, I don't know, a few years ago. Probably not, but I don't know, his body of work's all done on the large format cameras and film. Okay, so I'm doing some splatter painting here in the transition zone of that churning water. Right. Definitely a different look in terms of a nighttime type of scene or scenario in that water area, which is what I was going for, or kind of curious about. But look at that. That kind of glary look. I like that look right there. I have my studio lighting in right now, so it's kind of hard to kind of gauge right here. But just that reflective surface like that is really fun. And I think I transitioned it pretty good right up in here. I don't see that line anymore, I mean, at certain angles, if you hold it up, you'll see a little bit of a shadow, but overall, I think it blended in pretty decently. Okay, so that being said, what I'll do is I'll do some fine tuning now in terms of shading. And this is why I worked on the matte cardstock, or the silk weight cardstock instead of the glossy, because I can go in and I can add in really specifics here with this pencil, or just whatever I want, with much more of a detailed type of look here. So okay, so anyways, these trees right in here might be casting a little bit of a shadow, so I'll just darken those areas underneath that a little bit. This one kind of technique in kind of oscillating light is called checkerboarding. I don't know if that's what it's called. That's what one of my instructors called it. So this rock is right here, and if you want to push this rock back in the distance slightly, then you just kind of give it a little bit of tone like that. And I'll get knocked back. And I'm using kind of I don't know, it's probably like mostly a 5% value of this black right here, just like we do with, you know, dye-based inks, you know, just using a smaller portion of it. On some of these rocks down here, I'll just kind of add a little bit of tone at the base of them to make them look a little bit more three-dimensional. And then after I do all this, if we want to, I can add in some more alcohol ink if I want to fine-tune it even more. The alcohol inks might give the surface a little bit more sheen, which would kind of bring it a little bit more of a kind of a relationship between that super reflective, shiny in the the light surface like that. I don't know if we want to or not. You know, there's kind of that fine line sometimes. You want separation, but you also want integration, in other words, you know, so it's always kind of playing a balance between those types of things like that. But it's not precarious, though, either. Like I said, you just add in a little bit at a time. And then if you like it, then add more. But always kind of hold your piece back at arm's distance to kind of get, you know, a good idea of what you're doing, or however, whatever you're adding in is, you know, what is it contributing to the overall. Don't get caught up too much in the details, you know. Work on the details, but then see how, you know, like I said, the overall kind of piece is going to be much more important, you know, the focal area. I've had people in my workshops before. It's not often, you know, people are, you know, craftspeople are awesome, but I might have someone, you know, once in a while in a workshop or something like that, they'll be working on something, and there'll be something like a detail like a dot like that. And I'll say, how's it going? And they'll say, oh, terrible. I'll say, oh, what's up? And they'll say, yeah, that dot right there is really bothering me. Which, you know, I mean, it's a very valid thing if it's bothering them, you know. That's where their kind of attention is, but I don't know. I thought that was a little bit. It was probably distracting them from kind of the overall, and, you know, seeing how things are looking from that aspect of, you know, it. All right, so adding that in, I guess the wax too from these colored pencils are getting it's getting, you know, the rocks a little bit shinier too because it's wax. So I don't know, yeah. But the thing is too, you know, I didn't know how this was going to turn out. I'm, you know, still kind of, you know, thinking about that too. But one of the things about this piece here that that's teaching me is the tone down here for the water. I normally wouldn't make my water that dark, just if I was doing something on a piece of glossier, you know, cardstock or something like that. But I think it looks pretty interesting like that, just with that little, you know, transition area. I think this is a little bit too light up here. So maybe I'll come in with this a little bit more. You can take like a dry cotton ball and dab in there, and it'll remove, or like a little piece of paper towel. Add a little bit of paper towel in here, like so. And there's also, I can spray seal it a little bit more. The more you spray seal it, the more kind of transparent it becomes and becomes lighter, just like chalks or something like that. So you can do that too. Let's see, I think this is a little bit too light right here. Let's cast a little bit of a shadow in there. like that. It needed that little focal point down there, I thought. I mean, if I didn't have that, a word stamp, but there was just too much, I didn't leave enough space in there to stamp out that word stamp without it. If I stamped it out in black, you wouldn't be able to see it. And then if I stamped it out in white, it would be transitioning too much into this white area, which I liked, so I don't know. I mean, there's certain things that I need to adjust on here, yeah, but again, this is like a test run thing. This is a little bit too light up here still, I feel. And let me try to do something here. Let me try to, if I was going to say, if I can remove it with this, that would be perfect. But I think the ink is a little bit too dry on there now, but maybe if I stamp into that area with a little bit of a wet stamp, you know, not super wet, but a little bit damp, maybe it'll remove that area in there. Let me try it like that. Okay, that's better. Okay, so every time you do that, you have to kind of wipe it off like that a little bit. Okay, that's working pretty decently. All right, yeah, okay. From a textural standpoint, it's revealing some of the, let me see if I can zoom in here without this just camera going completely out of focus here. All right, so that's what I'm talking about right in here, removing that brilliance ink. So see, that's the one thing, it's a trade-off. You know, that brilliance ink, it's kind of a hassle that we're going to have to spray seal this after the, you know, after all that stamping. But it's also the thing that makes it completely, you know, able to manipulate even after the thing's dry. So, you know, if we couldn't do that, then we couldn't do this right here. All right, so if I add, and then if I take off too much of it, or if I put a streak in that I don't like, then you just add the white back into it and just do it again. You know, so you can keep working it. Let me try something here too with this brush. This. Okay, let's see. All right, let me see. What was that comment on the bone? Let's see. Edge of the cardstock. Are you talking about the edge of the cardstock and knock down the... Oh, are you talking about right in here? Yeah, yeah, you could. That would be a good thing. Yeah, it'd flatten it out a little bit, huh? I would have wanted to do that. I should have done... Okay, so if you're doing this, in those lighter areas especially... do it before you lay it down on here. So that's a good point right there. That would be an excellent technique. Yeah, it really flattened it out there. That's a great suggestion. That would be perfect. And then we wouldn't have to integrate it so much. It would just kind of flatten out in there. Yeah, the spray seal, it does dissolve it, so that's why you hit it with the standard kind of technique of, you know, very light applications of it. Don't hit it with a super thick application. It doesn't knock it down as much on the foil, I find, though, as much as it would on paper. I don't know, maybe, I don't know if it's because it's absorbent or whatnot, and the foils aren't as absorbent, so, but it would kind of, I don't know, melt it out a little bit. Okay, let's see here. Let me get in here a little bit more. Tweak that. Sometimes it helps it because it integrates it a little bit more. It kind of melts everything, just kind of blends it together a little bit. Oh, yeah, let me try something here too. Let's just take a pencil, huh? And we can come in here and just scrape off some of those little touches. I mean, the colored pencil's not applying anything on to the foil, and it's just not going to work, but this is going in and adding in like these little textural forms into your water if you want to. I guess we can use a little scratch tool too to do that too. Like a scratch board knife. All right, so there's that. Okay, let's see. This, I might be able to add like a little word stamp down here or something. It might not integrate. I was thinking I can have like a word piece or something like that right in here. I would darken this in a little bit more, but I don't know. I think I like it as is. I don't know. First test run. First experiment on this one. I'll figure that out in another version of it. But it seems like, I don't know, whenever I start using reflectives a lot, where there's a lot of inherent integration of, you know, some sort of reflective surface like that, and it just seems to invite some sort of a word stamp or something like that. That's why I'm always putting word stamps in with my mirror cards. I don't know. I find that when light is actually coming from within our cards like this, I mean, it can't do it without, you know, reflected light, of course, you know, but it just seems like light is emanating from within the piece, because if we're going to be looking at it, we're going to be looking at it with some light on there anyway, right? You know, but it's so reflective that you have light coming out of it, and that's what I find, I don't know, kind of evocative in terms of you know, some sort of visual. And if we're working on scenes, you know, having something that's, you know, with light coming out of it, it just seems to be an added bonus, because we're usually just working with contrast on a white piece of paper where we are depicting the idea of light through the use of that contrast. You know, there's never any light within a scene unless someone's, you know, worked up like an LED or something like that into a scene or something like that, you know, where you flip a little switch or something like that. But this is actually where you have light coming out of it, so I find that really cool. I always kind of bring up like children's books and things like that, or kids' books, where there's some sort of light element in them as like an added bonus, or, you know, just an extra reason for those kids to grab that particular book over another ones. I used to like this Eric Carle one, and it was the Lonely Firefly, I think it was, where you open up the last page and there's all these little twinkly fireflies in there. Again, I need to be really a little bit careful about this. I won't go over it too strong, because some of that white, you know, ink might just come right off of there. Okay, and let's go again. Let's see. Hey, Linda. We'll have to try one of these out. Try it on your the red foil. Can you imagine that? Does everyone have some foil in their supplies? You know, it seems like everyone that I, you know, when I started posting things on foil, it's like, it seems like you know, they, just like I had some foil sitting around for a while, and, you know, people use it for other things, but, I don't know, it's pretty fun to stamp on like that, you know, so the brilliance and the stays on types of inks like that would be the ticket. But just know, going into it, although my hands, I don't know, they're not too inky. Like, I don't know, maybe it's because I use the stays on more than the brilliance this time. I used to use like all 100% brilliance on there, but I don't know. That stays on is working really well for me with the foils. Okay, here we go. I'm using a matte black on this layer right here. Eyeballing. I'm a little bit right here, I think. Let's see, let's move that up. Okay. If that isn't centered, then so be it. All right, there is the piece. Let's see here. Let's see, what did people... Daphne, that's me. I'll mess with a piece until I ruin it. Daphne, I totally believe in people messing with pieces until they ruin it. I always say, you know, if we don't take things sometimes or oftentimes or whatever beyond, you know, maybe the ideal kind of... whatever finish on it, then we're not going to know, you know, going forward, kind of how to maximize pieces. So I'd always rather people kind of take things, or oftentimes too far than to always, you know, than to hold back a lot. You know what I mean? You know, unless it's, you know, if there was some piece that someone was working on for, you know, I don't know, 15 hours, and, you know, there was this one last step that, you know, they just weren't quite sure about, then maybe, you know, you maybe a little bit more conservative, something like that. But when is that, you know, when are we ever doing that type of thing, you know, in stamping? All right, so adding a little bit of specular light into the space. Remember when we're doing these things too, as who mentioned that? Chris, you know, Chris mentioned it. When you spray seal these things, that white, especially the white brilliance, the black you can't really tell, but it tones down a little bit. It moves towards transparency a lot more. So it's like if you've ever spray sealed things like pastels or chalks, you know you have to be kind of delicate around the light areas, light over dark, especially if it's white. It tends to disappear. So I'm kind of expecting that going into it. So for me, I think it may even benefit some of the clunkier areas within here. But again, I don't know. I'm not worried about that. You know, for me, this is like a concept piece. I wanted to see what we can do in terms of water and having something really reflective in an area without having the entire thing all that same texture, you know. So you can refine things too. Maybe you can have, you know, if you have a, I don't know, a pond within a meadow or something like that, you might be able to lay down something, you know, and utilize that reflective area. Or Froggy, is Froggy still in here? But they were saying, hey, is this going to be a lightning piece? You know, so if you have something that you really want reflected down and below, without just kind of stamping another image of it, you know, if you want to use that parallax or whatever type of thing, you know, you might be able to do something like that with a mirror card. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just playing around with textures like that. It seems like could be potentially a fun thing to do. So experiment. Take things way too far. Take things a little bit too far. You know, and I don't know. I would say, you know, you want that spirit. You want that spirit of exploration, especially in pieces, you know, where the worst thing that can happen is, you know, it goes a little bit too far. But then you can also do little things. You can come up with other techniques. If you think you've gone too far with something, then you come up with your, you know, methodology to kind of, you know, kind of bring it back in a little bit. So for me, oftentimes it's with colors, making things too dark or whatever. So my white pigment ink kind of knocks it back a little bit. You know, and it's, you know, I think it looks better anyway, you know, because it adds in possibly some extra texture, or it adds in some light where maybe there wasn't as much lighting before, but the white pigment ink brings that lighting into it, but definitely for a textural change. So that's where that came out of, at least the degree to which I use white pigment inks. Things like these paint pens too. You know, if things are looking too muddled and muddy looking from coloring too much, I just add then the crisp little elements back into it. The muddy things are still in there, but it's just underneath another surface that's crisp. Okay, so you know, and I don't think I ever would have thought to do those types of things if I hadn't taken things too far often time, you know, a lot, you know. So it's like, okay, I have to kind of bring this back a little bit. All right, so anyway, well, like I said, this is just a little experiment, you know, so I don't know. I think it's good to play around with things and test things out. I like this piece, you know. I think it looks different. I like seeing different things coming off of my desk. I'll definitely incorporate that thing where you just burnish that thing down. So that was a fantastic... See, I can see that little area right there. I could have come up in here and cut into there a little bit more. Maybe it wouldn't show up as much. But that little burnishing, that was a fantastic tip right there. You know, in terms of integrating those little areas. The darker areas I don't think need integration, but it's in the light areas. Light on light, where we can see that shadow a little bit more. Or, you know, some of you have some kind of media where you can kind of add in a little, I don't know, what is it, Mod? I don't know if it's Mod Podge that you would use in there, but something like that might be kind of interesting. Let's see. Debbie, the spray sealant that I use, I think any of the Krylon, any of the art sprays that you use, those are designed to not, you know, yellow. So, you know, Krylon makes things like for furniture outdoor furniture and stuff like that. So that might yellow, but definitely not the art-based ones. So I don't know. I think Winsor Newton makes some, but I just use the Krylon UV clear, and that should work fine. Linda got her gold foil. So check this out, Linda, on like a sunset type of scene or something like that, the gold foil down in these areas in a warm tone scene. Or like I was saying, you know, if I didn't have this one up here and I put like a full moon or something like that, I think that might have been even more striking. I just wanted to have these kind of these tiered pools like this. That's what came to mind. But when I had this little area up here, you know, before I put that down, I thought that almost looks like a little moon or something like that that could have been up there. But I think this scene could have been really cool with a moon. But if we did like gold up here or something like that, that could be like a golden ocean or something like that, or lake under a sunset. And if we did these in warm tones like that and another warm tone down there. I think that might be kind of interesting. Red foil could be interesting. You know, we've seen some movies, you know, that have that reddish tinge like that. So I think that could be cool. Yeah. Yeah, I was pleased about that, Linda. I mean, that was the biggest thing is, you know, how they would transition. So, white pigment ink and splatter painting like that really helped out. But I was pretty pleased with just, I mean, I wouldn't have left it like that, but I was really pleased with the StazOn on that silver foil, just creating the shadows in there like that, like it, you know, did on the Cardstock. So I thought, why don't we try it here? And then I didn't have to use so much of that black Brilliance ink around the perimeter. If I even did, I probably needed to. But see, I'm looking at it. It looks like this to me sitting here, you know, but at different angles, of course, there's so much different lighting. So, you know, like that, I mean, you can tell like that up there. I mean, that doesn't integrate at all, but when you do that, it's really not too bad. So, you know, I don't think you're going to give a card to someone. They're going to go like this and say, oh, wait a minute. You didn't get into that little crack there. I hate the card. If they did that, you'd probably never give another card to them again. Handmade card. But yeah, but I think it's integrated, you know, pretty good. And that's, you know, I have my like 12, you know, fluorescent bulbs right now that are really glaring in there, you know, but if I just, you know, in normal lighting, you know, it looks like that. So it's not too bad in terms of that integration. We could have, okay, there's other things you can do too, you know. I just laid down some white ink on a piece of silver paper like that. And then I stamped that image right over that white Brilliance ink. That's what I would normally be doing. But if you do that, you can't color it in afterwards because you can't color into the Brilliance because you're just going to be removing it right off the surface. So that's where these pastings of these cutouts came into play. So I don't know. And then if you just joined in, one of the things I did too was those trees are stamped underneath the cutout. So you have to just kind of get your sequencing down as far as what you want in the background of whatever you're laying down there like that too. So it was like white pigment ink on the surface, then trees, and then this right there. So you kind of work from back to front like that. So I don't know, but you know, there might be other things where you know, you play around with the sequencing too. This is like I said, this was my first one here, so yeah. Tim Holtz foil, you're not that impressed with it. I'm not familiar with that one, Froggy Fresh. How would you compare it to the like say the Michaels Recollections foils if you have that? Is the Tim Holtz ones thicker or whatnot, or is it not as reflective as you'd want? I don't even know what colors the Tim Holtz ones come in. Candy has different colors of vellum, huh? Ah, I've never even heard of different colors. Is it like pastels or something like that? I'm trying to think of what colors vellum would come in like that, but it sounds interesting. I only have, you know, the standard color, you know, whatever, clear, whatever, or translucent or whatever. That sounds kind of interesting. CJ has silver and copper. That'd be cool. The silver, again, silver's pretty wide open and somewhat neutral. The copper foil seems like it'd be interesting for a kind of more, maybe a little bit more of an antique look. Can you imagine that copper down here? I don't know how the white would transition into the copper color, you know? You might have to tint your white a little bit, you know, with like a different color of pigment ink or something like that. Like a, I don't know, if you had like a, well, I don't know, I guess if you had like a copper pigment ink or something like that, a Brilliance. I don't think I have that one. I might. You might be able to add that down as a base layer and then come back into it with a little bit of white over the top of it. Oh, I do have copper Brilliance right here. So you might be able to add in the copper on copper, and then where you add a little bit of white over the top of it, you'll get various kind of values of that copper transitioning into the copper. I mean, the copper ink might be a, completely different kind of tone of copper. Like I find with a lot of different like gold papers and gold pigment inks, it might be just a different kind of almost hue of that. But they should be able to be integrated, I think, pretty decently. Sparkle. See, there's all kinds of things I've never even heard of. Sparkle vellum and black vellum. How would the sparkle be? Is there like a mica in it or something like that? That sounds interesting. The black vellum. Is the black vellum pretty... How translucent would that be? Huh. Vellum, I think vellum's the great kind of unexplored world, in terms of potential in stamping. That last one that I did especially, it was like, or maybe it was the one before, but it was like, oh my God, you can keep kind of flip-flopping back and forth and changing your mind about certain things by doing it in the front side, the back side. You can block out I don't know, there's just so many layers to it. And if you did put something down that you don't like, then if it's not on the top layer, then you can just put something right over the top of it again, So it's like taking the idea of, I don't know, kind of the forgivable aspects of scenic stamping and just multiplying it by like, I don't know, whatever 3 times, if you have 3 surfaces that you're working in. And you can play around with opacity too by, adding in things like the Dr. Martin's bleed proof white right there. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, adding vellum over the top of, pasting it down and stuff like that. I'm sure there's other usages of vellum that I'm not even thinking about. I don't think I've done vellum on top of, I don't think I've done vellum on top of foils either. That might be kind of interesting too. I don't know how much of the foil would show through, but the foil being reflective, maybe it would, I don't know, under certain lighting, it might be even more kind of luminous, I guess, than, a white piece of paper. I don't know. It might be kind of interesting though. Let's see, blue foil. I love blue foil, Chris. That was one of my favorite. I don't know if that's my favorite, but I know that when I'm working on it, that was my initial favorite color because I like all the different, I tend to like cool tones like that anyway, so, and I liked the Jewel Tone Pack Recollections blue. It has a little bit of a red in it, so it's a little bit more of a violet tinge. And the Recollections foils are kind of cheap, so that when you're adding white pigment ink over the top of that, those Recollections colors, a lot of times those colors, I think are going back into solution. They must be some sort of water-based ink or water-soluble inks that are coating that the Recollections foils, because it turns my Brilliance inks, whatever color the foil is, a little bit. So white becomes like a light blue on that blue one. So if you want to get more opaque, then you just keep building it up. Yeah. Let's see, embossing powder on the small road the other day. That's something I haven't used embossing enough either. I just started playing around with that one not too long ago. Like embossing in general. I'm going back to basics here with, like stays on an embossing. Hello, Sandy. Good to see you. Picket fence distress inks helps tone things down without looking like white. Oh, huh. That's a good tip right there, Candy. So wait, Candy, the distress ink helps tone things down without looking. Are you talking about a white pigment picket fence ink then? You ever try it, Linda? Yeah, I don't know. I think there's I don't know. There's some potential in here. I think with this with the foils overlays. So it's like picking out some sort of imagery that's easy to cut out too, because we don't want to be like cutting around things. Or actually, you know, if it's like a cabin or something too, set within something, a lakeside thing or something like that. If there's water behind it, then we can just cut out the cabin and just, you know, we just re-stamp the trees over the top of it, so you don't have to cut out the trees. The trees would never integrate really well if we had to cut them out, you know what I mean? And then paste them down like that. So if you have an image that has some trees in it, you know, like say for example, something like this, I would just cut out, you know, the cabin or something like that, and then I would just stamp the trees like this around it, I think, or behind it or something like that. Yeah, I would do it behind it. I wouldn't bother cutting out something like this. That would be a real hassle, and I don't think that would ever integrate. Yeah, I mean, not that things have to seamlessly integrate. I mean, people cut things out all the time, you know, and they do these paste up things and it's like clearly cut out. So, I mean, we can do these types of scenes. Scenes could be collage too, you know. It's just a different look, you know. Yeah, we should do some collage scenes sometime and just cut things out and just paste it down. It might look, you know, kind of interesting, you know, for that type of look. Okay, red vellum, that sounds... Where is everyone getting all these things? Are they sold by the sheet or something like that? I've never even heard of these. It'd be interesting if there was a pack of vellum that comes in a pad, you know, with the different colors. Someone mentioned... what was that other one that someone mentioned? The shimmery vellum or something like that? I'm really curious about that one, if it has something, you know, within the vellum, like, you know, some sort of shimmer, as long as it's, for my use, the way that I've been using it, as long as it's reasonably translucent, I can see something behind there. Not that we have to, but I don't know, that's just the way I've been using it. But if I can have something in there like that, that would be interesting. The black vellum, yeah, what would people use on the black vellum? I guess you can stamp white imagery over the top of it, right? Or you could, if you did some sort of like gigantic white cutout, like for a full moon or something like that, and then you have that in back of the vellum, so it might look like a lighter gray area, maybe, and then if you stamp something darker over the front of it, I don't know, it'd be like a really super dark card probably. It just depends on the translucency of the, you know, how much you can see through the black vellum. But yeah, what, I don't know, what would people use that black vellum for? Besides maybe, like I said, those reverse impressions, you know, light on dark, which I like too. I like doing that type of thing. I haven't played around with that too much. The brand of copper foil paper is Reflections. I'm not familiar with that paper there. Copper foil paper. Sounds interesting. I don't think I have any of that. I wonder if the Recollections. I think Michael's has just about every color of foil. I don't know. At my Michael's, there was like a gigantic display of all different foils. The ones that I'm buying for the most part, though, are the multi-packs, because I'm just not quite sure if I want... Well, apparently I do want, because I have a pack of 60 packs of that, you know, that super mirrored one in red as well. I don't know. I guess I should go and check, you know, some of those other ones out. It's only, especially when they're on sale, the buy one get one at half off. Those 25 packs of foil are only, they retail for $6. They're $5.99, so they're always going on. I don't think there's a buy one get one free, but it's buy one get one at half off, so it's relatively inexpensive. I haven't used my copper like Brilliance pads though too much either though. I tried it once and I didn't find a a good combination for it, but I don't have copper foil paper though. So, you know, I should probably get some of that to use with that copper pad. You know, I think copper impressions on top of copper foil or paper would look good, and maybe black impressions or something like that for one extra layer of depth or something like that. Yeah. And then I have copper paint pens as well, so yeah, I don't know. Okay, Candies is old. It was a multicolor vellum in a pack. Okay, well that's, yeah, that would be the one there that I would want. And just in terms of experimenting with it. Yeah. Okay, Darcy got the single sheets, huh? Okay. Well, where is everyone buying these, though? Are we talking about, like, you know, like stores, like scrapbook stores and stamping stores that, you know, are few and far between these days? Fuzz powder for moss on rocks. That sounds interesting. That would be good for here, huh? Yeah. That would be good on here. Froggy Fresh. Some moss on those. I don't have that fuzz powder, but yeah, let me see. Yeah, I need to add a, that would be good on here. I should add a little bit of greenish tinge on here. It's like a little, I don't know, lichen or something like that. Tons of foils that are used in the Cricut. Oh, I need to make use of the Cricut more often in terms of, especially in terms of the shapes. Yeah. Oh, it is Recollections. Okay, CJ. Yeah, I was thinking I haven't heard of Reflections, but yeah. Okay. Now I'll check out that foil. The one that I like is the multi-packs, just for variety, and then the rainbow holographic like that. I need to use this one in combination with the mirror cards more often. All right, so would this one have looked better? Now that I think about it, I wonder if this would have looked better with this as that base in there for that color variety, you know? It might have. It would have, I don't know, it probably would have stood out more from the rocks, and, you know, it wouldn't have looked as integrated as this, but it would be more dynamic with those colors, though, now that I think about it. Oh, that's a great idea, Chris, with the pearlescent paper. Yeah, under the black vellum. So you get those different tones showing through. Yeah. Huh. Tonic. I like Tonic. Yeah, Tonic Paula was the one that had the remaining super crazy, you know, rainbow holographic stock out there. They had a little bit left. I think Tonic Studios was completely out of it on their UK-based site, but I don't know. Did Tonic Studios have like a US-based site or something like that where they still had some of that particular rainbow holographic on in inventory? So I bought a couple. I bought one pack maybe. A lot of people were looking for it at the time, so I don't want to get too much of it. But I did buy like maybe 1 or 2 packs more or something like that. Okay, so I'm putting a little bit of color in here. Froggy reminded me of a little moss on the rocks. It's something very subtle, but everything is kind of the bluish tinge here, so I like adding a little bit of that, little bit of detail in there. Like, I don't know if you guys can see it. But there's a little bit of, like, tinge of green. See that down here? And it's a little bit of warmth, too. And I don't know. Just for a little bit of an addition there, so... yeah. Like so. And if you've just logged on, I haven't, here, I tilted this around, but these two areas right here and here are foil, okay? I mean, the whole background is foil, but so I've just added in these layers of these 3 images, creating this kind of tiered waterfall thing. And I did that because I like to have kind of a reflective area or something that represents a reflective area. Normally, I'm just working on white cardstock, so it's not, you know, truly reflective like a, you know, a foil cardstock would be, but, you know, it can catch the light. Let me take a look at this. I want to take a look at it under normal lighting without all my studio lights on it because it creates this big glare like that, you know. But I think, you know, when I hold it up, it looks reasonably well integrated. I can go a little bit darker up there and that would be better too, but, you know. I don't know, the more I look at this and chat, it's like, okay, let's go a little bit more here. This is just a colored pencil here, by the way. Yeah, something like that. I went a little bit heavier in here just to match, you know, some of the darkness of the waters up there. You know, I don't know. Trying to make it look like a little bit more three-dimensional. Let's create a little bit more shadow here. You know, being created by the that deer right there. I don't know. Little fine-tuning types of things right there. But yeah, Tonic Studios. Let's see. That would do. Let's see. Yeah, I like that pearlescent paper underneath the black vellum. That's a great thing. Yeah, you gotta see what that looks like, Debbie, underneath there, and see if it kind of evokes, you know, some sort of a scene or something like that. Have a look for pre-game or vellum packs. What is that? What's the pre-game aspect of it? Pre-game? Yeah, oh, the gel pen still works. I haven't been using my gel pens these days, but those Uniball Signas, this has been sitting around for like probably, I don't know, probably like 2 years without me using it. Good thing about the Uniball Signos, you know. Anyways, that says pre-game. Let's see. Vellum packs. Let's see. There is vellum, which is like plastic almost, and there's vellum surface paper, which simply refers to the finish of the paper. Oh, yeah. I've seen those, yeah, those tablets of that that white vellum. That's a good point there, Chris. Pergamano is a brand used by Parchment Crafters. I know that brand. Marco's used to have a colored vellum and black vellum. Okay, that was a few years ago. Flocked cardstock. What is that? Is that some sort of textured, physically textured cardstock, or does it look like that in appearance only? Yeah, that sounds interesting, though. And how do people use that? Stamp kit a couple years ago used to die cut a black cat. Oh. Yeah, I've never heard of a flock cardstock. Anyone? Well, there's all kinds of different ideas here. It's fuzzy. Sounds like a good textural surface there. So, okay, it's fuzzy. We can't stamp on it then, right? Unless that fuzz is I don't know. I don't know. Even if something was like minutely fuzzy, it seems like it'd be tough to stamp into unless you have like a super bold image. But maybe we'd use it for certain types of three-dimensional elements within a piece or something like that. Would you do it like on a cabin and in like a snowy scene with like snow on the rooftop or something like that? Velvet but cuts like paper. Flocked cardstock. Okay, so pre-game. Flocked card. Flocked cardstock. Huh. Oh, suede-ish surface. Huh. I don't know. Has anyone used that here? That sounds like one of those surfaces that I would have bought if I saw it in some store, and it would have sat on my shelf in years past without me using it. I would just like to have it. Yeah, I like those kind of three-dimensional. I especially like the iridescent and reflective surfaces, like you know, Star Dreams. Let's see, Kelly Paper has the. I suddenly forgot the name of their surface. Their Star Dream looking surface. It's not a Kelly Paper brand, but I don't know. They carry it there. I don't know. We can't stamp on a suede surface though, can we? Or can we? Well, I guess we could on if it's suede, as long as it's not kind of moving around too much. But yeah, that would be fantastic for a black cat there, or any type of thing that we need fuzzy. Black cat or black rat. Perfect for Halloween time. It's time to start on those Halloween cards, maybe. Yeah, die cuts. Okay, got it. What is black and or whatever? What is white and fuzzy? Does it come in different colors? Well, it comes in black, and it comes in white too? Flocking cardstock, but with fuzz powder, you can add your own flocking. Huh. I want to see some of these things. Stamp bears, huh? Chris, you've stamped on it. Again, with what ink though, Chris? Stays on, I guess? Or something else? Pre-game is Otto's Render or Pergamano. I'll take a look at these things after this vid. Bears. We need 8. We need those fuzzy bears and scenes. Someone said they use. Wait a minute. Which one are we talking about here, Paula? On that suede-ish type of surface, you can use pastels on that. And then you spray seal it, right? I would think or I don't know, or would you have to? Well, anything with pastels, dry pastels, we're talking about, right? Not oil pastels. Huh. Flocking embossing. I haven't seen that flocking. I think I remember flocking embossing powder or something like that. I've never used it. I've hardly ever done any embossing, but yeah. I don't know. Do they still have, I'm taking it they still have all those types of things out there, right? I have a little jar of Meadows. Crumbly stuff. You glue down for dimension like a meadow or moss. Oh, okay. Huh. I wonder if you can get that type of thing like at a hobby supplier, you know, someone that would be supplying things like model train types of things, because that's the type of thing that I've always thought would be really fantastic in scenes. A lot of that integration of like model railroad things in scenes. A lot of it though might require something like a shadow box type of application though, so I wasn't quite sure if that would be, you know, how practical that would be for card making, you know, where we need things, you know, somewhat, you know, flat, you know, two-dimensional types of things. So, flocking embossing powder, yeah. But yeah, the meadows, that crumbly little thing. If I understand you right, I'm guessing it's those little, you know, it's probably green, right, or whatever variations of green and whatnot, mossy green, obviously. But yeah, something like that would be good in scenes, especially like over rocks and things like that, like Froggy Fresh was talking about earlier, doing stuff like that. Dry pastels on that, okay, huh. Fun Flock powder in tan, white, yellow, and black. Fun Flock powder. And how do you adhere that? You just lay down some sort of adhesive, Laura, and then do you sprinkle it on there and just let it air dry or something like that? Yeah, we need to start adding in some more three-dimensional elements to that. I guess, you know, if we're doing a scene for scene, but so if you lay down those types of flocking little things like that, let's say on a flat card or something like that, it's adhered enough, and then you throw it into like a clear envelope or something like that for mailing, and all those types of three-dimensional elements like that we're tacking down like that stays reasonably intact in transit then for that. Oh, thanks, Bugs. I was really happy with this, and I wasn't quite sure how well integrated this would be kind of at the end, but if you've just logged on, these two areas right here are silver right here. And the impression, most of the impressions, some of the impressions I did put on the silver like that, but I just wanted to see, I wanted to do a test here to see if we can integrate these two different types of surfaces. And for me, you know, the silver would be a fun one, I thought, for water, because it's, you know, water tends to be very reflective, and, you know, oh, that looks really good right there. Like with that lighting like that in the water like that. That's what I wanted. And see, we can even, there's a hand coming out of the water now. Or like, you know, it'd be cool is I need to do some more monster scenes. I have like this. Like you know, some sort of kraken or something like that. I'll have to do something like that for a Halloween scene. So maybe I'll do something with, you know, coming out of the water or something like that. I mean, that wouldn't be scary in itself, but if you put like something, you know, next to it to kind of play around with scale, like a house or something like that, then it, you know, this little octopus becomes like a gigantic kraken or something like that. Or, you know, shipwreck type of thing, you know, something like that would be interesting in there. I can have it coming out of the water. But something like that, you know, playing around with these little types of things like that. If you want to go with black onto silver, it's one of those things. You can see how dark this is right here, but one of the things that's fun about playing around with things like silver foils is that you change it in the light, and suddenly, you know, you get that glare down there, and something like a, you know, black image would really stand out, where it, you know, it almost disappears like into the background, like something like that. But then if it's in any, you know, degree of light at all reflecting out, that it's like these, whatever you have in there kind of you know, appears and disappears. Like these trees right there, you can see those trees like right up here, but then if you look at it at a certain angle, they almost kind of disappear. So I don't know, I like these little things like that. I think it's fun, just in terms of lighting or something a little bit more interactive. People, like I said in the past, when people get your cards that have any type of mirrored thing, you know, they'll look at it or whatever and enjoy it. But if it's kind of, if things change depending on the angle of it, then they tend to do a little bit of this type of thing to it, and I don't know. Back, in illustration, one of the things about being an illustrator is, you're doing these little things and whatever publications or whatever, and if someone stops like for an extra like 1 second or something like that, then you've done your job, in terms of getting someone's attention. So I think about anything that gets people's attention a little bit more, is a positive thing. So I mean, this is just like a scene as is, but then there's that little extra kind of reflective element that's kind of cool, especially if they haven't seen it before, um, in terms of a technique, if they haven't seen it over and over and over again, it's just a little bit of something to kind of tweak your, your compositions or something like that for that extra little. Well, I guess it'd be a few more seconds in terms of, capturing your card recipient's attention. Yeah. I have flock. Okay, the flock is hard to control, you say. Huh? Let's see. Bye, Chris. Thanks for joining in. The foster kittens. Oh, that sounds like fun there. Collecting rubber stamps. I bought stamps. Let's see. When I first started collecting rubber stamps, I only bought stamps that had a bear on it. Oh, you were into bears, huh? Awesome, CJ. Hundreds of them. I guess there is there is such thing in the world as too many bear stamps. According to obviously a bear fan, right? You've got it right. Various greens and a little bit of yellow. Flock it's hard to control in terms of the how much is adhering to what you're applying it to. I take it, Bugs. Tonic has pollen in a few colors. Huh. You can also get the flock powder with glitter in it. Oh, so many different variations, huh, Sheila? You can use double-sided tape with the flock. Ah. I have some of the fun flock, too. Fun flock. Sounds interesting. Laura uses wet glue, so you pile it on and leave it overnight and then brush off the extra. Okay. What are you applying the glue with? Are you just going straight out of applicator, or are you moving it around, Laura, with like a paintbrush or something to specific areas? Or are you applying it with something else like a stick or something like that? And do you need it pretty thick, or do you, is it a thin application, or is it, I don't know, one of those things where it's just right? You don't want too little of it, otherwise when you brush it off, too much will come off, I take it, right? And then you're just leaving it that. You're not spray sealing anything like that after the top, after it's been already applied, right? I'm wondering if a spray sealant would give it too much of a weird sheen or kind of affect it. Or if it would, a spray sealant would add like a little bit of a slightly extra layer of protection, or would that not be good to do? You glue it down. If you want it to stand up, use a static grass applicator. I think I've seen that in some video, Froggy Fresh. Maybe a couple years ago. I don't know, when something came across my YouTube feed. I was checking out some of that stuff. Looks like a cave, maybe under the rocks. Could be. Yeah. Use one of those. By Chris. I have a stamp, a mermaid coming out of the water. Never used it because she wasn't dressed. I was afraid someone would complain. Oh, let them complain, CJ. I think on, I don't know, did they edit that type of thing out of Rubber Stamp Madness. I'm not sure if they would do that, like on Rubber Stamp Madness, like, you know, if they had to. But CJ, go ahead and use it. Why not use it if it's one of those things that, you know, I don't find that a vulgar thing or anything like that, you know. I don't know, if you want to, then, you know, cut out a little bit of a, you know, a top or something like that. Make it removable. You can have it as is, you know. And if someone complains, you know, I don't know. So be it. Yeah, seaweed right there. There you go, Laura. Put the fun flock in front of her. Whatever that, you know, that fuzzy top or something like that. Do that. Yeah, you can do, you know, I mean, if something like this, you know, put a little, I don't know what position the mermaids, you said they're coming out of the water, right? Coming out of the water, so they're coming out of the water. Oh, you mean they're like coming out of the water, like onto land or something like that? Or are they just kind of like treading water or something like that? Like on the surface? But yeah, that would be really fun on something like this, if you can have something really reflective. I think it would be even more dynamic if you can cut out that mermaid, if it's not too intricate cutting assignment, you know. I think this, you know, I'm thinking about this right now. I don't think I want to redo this piece right here, this scene, but I'm wondering if it would have been better on the rainbow holographic to get all those different colors within that space down there. I'm not done with this cutout thing over the top of foils, but, you know, I'm just saying I'd probably do a different composition or something like that, for this piece. I was doing, what was I doing the tide pool things on? I might want to try the different tide pool types of things on, where this is the horizon out here and, you know, something. So that'd be, like, if I had a mermaid, I would use it in there. And I don't know, that would be a perfect image for in there. Or you could put like a, I don't know, shipwreck in the background or something like that too. Yeah. Okay, so yeah. Use a fine tip. Okay, this is for the fine tip applicator and press the flock into it. Oh, got it. And Laura, you've mailed these pieces out too? Or is it too delicate to mail? I don't know. I guess we're card makers, and if you're giving cards out, then you just some of it's just might come off, and some of it will remain, right? That's just the thing, unless we're mailing it in a box or something like that, to protect it. But I don't know, that gets expensive when you start mailing things that are over like a 1/4 inch thick. She's just rising out of the water. If I can figure out how to send you a photo, I'll do it. I would think the rocky ledge stamp in front of her. Yeah. You can do the rocky ledge. You can do like a little bit of ledge, like the ledge is like real similar to the boulders with lichen, but you can do something like this too. You can have a ledge like this, and then you have a body of water like that, and then you can do another one in the foreground too. Or you can do a different amount of it. You can do a ledge that's like halfway, so it looks like it's a little bit more submerged, and you can use a larger version of it in the foreground to play around with depth. If you want her kind of framed off like that, you can do things like that too. That might be interesting. But yeah. So yeah, send that on over. CJ, I'd like to see that. I might complain though, if they're like topless, and put you on the the censored list, but just see what happens. I'm joking. Someone might have just logged on and thought, what the heck, Okay, so yeah. All right, Debbie, have a great evening. Hope you had a nice dinner and whatnot there, and yeah, maybe we'll see you on the future live here. It's about as delicate as glitter. Okay, well that's not too bad. Then glitter's not, glitter's delicate, but yeah, I didn't know if this other one would be like even more raised. But yeah, okay. All right, so I am going to log off too here. Again, thanks for joining in. I've got a lot of things to think about. After these live streams, I like flooded with ideas here. So I hope you guys are kind of, kind of making note. There's a lot of things that you guys know and have used and have apparently, in your collections. So I'd like to see some of those things in application too, in cards, so I can get kind of a visual, so I can visualize it too. So on something like this, I don't know, this is something that I just thought about last night when I was thinking about that more. I was mentioning earlier, I was thinking about I do those mirror cards, where, you kind of open them up and you view them at an angle, but I was thinking about something like this that would have this, and this would be coming out. This portion would be coming out like that and be tiered down in another pool like that, so this, I don't know, it kind of almost looked like an accordion, but I thought, that format would be kind of weird, so I thought I would just try it in this flat scene like this with these mirrored areas like that, which I found to be really fun looking. But now that I'm thinking about it, like I said, maybe going a little bit more dynamic would be with the colored foil. Can you imagine this? Okay, so I was mentioning this looks like a moonlit scene to me because of the darkness of the silver, chrome foil like that. But if this was done in blue foil or something like that, oh, would that be harder to integrate though because of these white falls cut out on the white piece of paper? Maybe. I don't know, but I don't know. That white pigment ink down there again might be something to integrate it in with, but the white foil, the rainbow holographic one might be more dynamic. Like it would be sitting here and we'd see all these different colors in there right now, which would be really cool. And just barely kind of moving it around, you'd get all kinds of different color schemes showing up, depending on the angle too. So that might be a little bit more dynamic a surface than, like I said, the mirrored foil. So I don't know. Yeah. All right. So yeah. Gilding flakes. Oh my God. There's all kinds of things popping up here that I've never even heard of. Gilding flakes. Is that super, like, really thin material that you can put on to, like, frame, whatever you want, three-dimensional media? You just kind of paste it down. It's like paper, well, not paper thin. It's like thinner than paper thin, right? Cans of coal now. I'm some more alert. Oh, CJ had a couple cans of Coke. I think Coke, you mean. Yeah. Auto correct there. CJ, go work on that mermaid that you haven't used before. Time to break that out, Don't know when you bought it, but it is time. When you bought it, you liked it, but yeah, the stamp censorship aspect of it gave you pause in terms of the application of it. Well, it's time to break it out. Does anyone here disapprove of that? CJ using her stamp. I'll make some really cool crap after I'm done with my big project. We want to see some cool crap, Froggy Fresh. Use a little bit of glitter glue for dimension at the bottom of the falls. Yeah. We do need something. It needs a little bit of something. It needs that extra color in there, huh, Laura? It does need some of that. The thing, so for something like that, so Laura brought up glitter glue. I think I'm going to have to spray seal this first to seal in that brilliance ink, because then again, that brilliance ink is just sitting almost like powder on the surface here. If I took my finger like this or a paper towel and just wiped right across there, all of that could still come off cleanly with no problem. So, yeah. Okay, yeah. I don't. I wonder if anyone's ever gilded a something on a card before. I'm sure someone has, but I don't think I've ever seen it. I'm not talking about just scenic stamp. I'm talking about, you know, like any cards. I don't remember seeing it before, like that. CJ, it is time, you know, to use that. 30 years ago, I would say that's just about the right time there for that image. You know, it's what do you call it? It is like wine, when wine comes into its full, you know, whatever potential, you know. Right, that. I don't know if that's how it goes with stamps, you know, but hopefully it's aged well. And you know, all the ideas that have been kind of going around in your subconscious in terms of usage, we're ready for it. So watch CJ uses it, and it's like this total vulgar, you know, super vulgar, you know, version of a mermaid. I'm just joking. There's some companies that used to have like that, but yeah. Yeah, use the mermaid. We want to see it. Post it somewhere too, CJ, so we can you can give us a link on here and check it out, or wherever you post your things. Yeah, open up a Flickr account and throw it on there. I'm going to get it right. Maybe it wasn't as revealing as I thought. And plus, you have all these other things there to throw on there. Whatever that suede thing, you can have this. I don't know. You can accessorize the mermaid if you want to with different possibilities. There can be some little tiny seashells, you know, or whatnot. Yeah, we need to see it now, CJ. Yeah, you've piqued our interest now. Now we have to see it. All right, everyone. Let's see. Thanks for joining in on this experiment. We hope it's generated some new ideas potentially. All right. So have a great rest of evening, day, whatever time of day it is for you. And yeah, I think I have my... every time you do one thing, it's like it opens up, you know, I don't know, 3 more avenues on some potential applications here. So yeah, so here's my colors in my scene. Let's see. There's all these new colors right here. I'm just reflecting in this box here. You know, here, like this. We'll go like this. See this? Oh, there. Oh, okay. So might be what something like this could look like in the rainbow holographic. It would look like that, right? Here, I'm just holding this piece like that, and it's reflecting. So this could look like this, and maybe it'd look a little bit different. I don't know. That's probably what it would look like, though, right? I don't know. I kind of like that now. I don't know. Maybe you can do some, you know, where you have like the rainbow hologram, or you can do. Let's say this is sky up here, and this is like water down here. You can have the rainbow holographic up there like that, and the other one down below. I don't know if that would make sense to have it, you know, not reflecting in the water, but that's what that would look like right there. You know, just in the sky. Or you can have it just in the water, like that. I don't know. Trying to get that reflection down there. Like that. Oh, there it goes, like that. Fun with foils, huh? You can kind of play around with it a little bit. And see what other things are going to look like that, you know, with a neutral silver like so. All right, good night all. Thanks again for joining in. And hopefully we'll see you in a future live stream.